Hi, so my project is a timeline for representation plasticity in large language models. So what's the problem here? What are we actually trying to solve or contribute to? Well, it's AI alignment. Now, why does this matter and why should we care? Well, in the past few years, we've seen rapid advancement in the field of artificial intelligence. We've gone from GPT-2 to GPT-4 in just 4 years. All the while, new capabilities have been developing. They're outperforming us on theory of mind benchmarks, on most academic tests, and they even have the ability to self-learn or inference through meta-learning algorithms. They even bypass human verification. Now, all this to say that by the end of the century, transformative AI, or AI whose capabilities transform society and our way of life as a whole, is a very real possibility this century. Now, what's the chance of this actually happening? Well, estimates vary from 5 to 30% of transformative AI actually developing by 2070. Now, this is a big number, but why should we actually care about this? Well, Carl Smith recently doubled his estimate of existential risk from AI after just 1 year of progress, going from 5% to 10%. Now, you might be asking, what are the major pathways to an existential scenario with TAI? Well, a major risk from AI stems from the development of power-seeking behavior. Now, why is this actually the case? Well, transformative AI, being integrated with society as they are, would be much more strategic than we are, and they'd easily be able to disempower humans, completely cutting off future human potential. Now, what are we actually doing to solve this, given it's a very real threat? Well, recent paradigms of alignment have developed, notably representation engineering. Now, representation engineering aims to drive behavioral change in models at a top-down level. Now, what it essentially says is, hey, let's look at the model internals during different scenarios. So on the left, you're seeing that we're trying to identify the model's representations of both dishonesty and honesty. From that, you're going to identify broader trends across these scenarios, typically done by averaging the different representations to get a holistic representation of honesty and dishonesty. And from that, we're actually going to need like a direction, right? We need a concept vector, a way to steer the model, right? So if we're steering the model away from dishonesty and to honesty, it makes intuitive sense that the honesty concept vector would be honesty minus dishonesty, right? Because we're going from dishonesty to honesty through this direction, which is our concept vector. So typically our concept vector is calculated through that difference, and we use that concept or steering vector to modify the model's internals towards our desired behavior, and results have been very promising with it working and modifying behavioral change to what is desired here. So now that we know that this is pretty promising, well, what's the issue with it? Well, there's actually a huge knowledge gap in LLM plasticity, especially in the context of top-level representation engineering. Now, why is this important, and why does our project matter on identifying plastic periods? Well, importance. We've already seen the importance of this, right? We need to be expanding our techniques to steer model behavior. That's a really important thing we need to be doing, because improving our technical capabilities to do this ensures that we have readiness come an existential scenario, or even preemptively to steer models away from power-seeking behavior or harmful behavior to begin with, right? So, what change is possible here? How is this idea tractable? Well, really big change is possible here, right? Research pointing to plastic or critical periods would guide future interventions to be applied during times more effectively, because plastic periods of times means that the model is more susceptible to change. Not only this, but it would also reveal key points of analysis that might be better used to understand model training dynamics, which goes across different paradigms of alignment. Now, the big selling point of this issue, or this problem, is neglectedness. It's highly neglected in alignment. There have been a couple of studies on task-specific learning and forgetting in neural networks, but nothing on the representational level on model behavior. So, with that in mind, I believe that research contributing to this has the potential to vitally contribute to the field, adding to the top-level approach we've seen in Rep-E, which is likely going to be key in value alignment and likely to be at the forefront of preventing power-seeking catastrophic AI. Now, that leads us to our project, which is essentially to analyze whether these periods of heightened plasticity do in fact exist in the context of Rep-E during model fine-tuning or training, and in this case we'll be focusing on fine-tuning. So, what's our methodology? How are we actually going to go about doing this? Well, we're going to actually take two different model architectures, GPT-2 small and GPT-2 medium. Now, the reasoning for this is to see if the size of a model architecture actually affects where these plastic periods do take place. And spoiler, the answer is no. It seems like a pretty general result, but obviously we can't say that just yet with our two architectures. Then we're going to train the model on alignment for honesty pre-processed data sets. And we're going to use trivia QA and non-ambiguous QA. These are essentially just trivia questions that we're going to train the model on, and we're going to see whether or not the model has knowledge awareness and is also truthful in its answers. So we're scoring it on how well it gets it right, or if it also says I don't know when it doesn't know the information or has the given knowledge. And we're going to be focusing on the honesty concept obviously here. So with that in mind, we're going to apply steering at different times during model fine-tuning, and then we're going to analyze the results at the end to see whether there were any periods with heightened evaluation or heightened plasticity in this case. So what do we end up getting? Well, our results are actually pretty promising. On GPT-2 medium and GPT-2 small, you can see a very similar trend occurring with peaks at 3 and 8 in both of them. Now, this implies that there is sort of a generalizability here. And let's actually see this statistically, right? We can see that both 3 and 8 in a pairwise comparison to see which differences are statistically significant. This was a post-hoc Dunn's test, by the way. We can see that in both medium and small, we see that 3 and 8 are the periods of time that have the statistically significant difference from the rest of the model eval scores. And this is across both models, just to be clear. Now, the implications of this are, one, that there are optimal periods of intervention, and this can act as a guiding tool for future alignment researchers to apply REPI techniques more effectively. But it also leads us to have critical points of analysis during model training and model training dynamics. Ultimately, all of this is hopefully going to lead to greater transparency in LLMs and safer AI overall by improving our deterrence from this existential power-seeking behavior. Thank you.